Now I've got member of the House Oversight Committee, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Absolutely. I look forward to the conversation.
Now, for those who aren't familiar with you, you had an amazing moment that went viral during this latest House Oversight Committee hearing where Hunter Biden showed up. Here's a clip of that exchange.
Let me tell you why nobody wants to talk to y'all behind closed doors, because y'all lie. That's just the bottom line. You have done it thus far in this investigation. You have done it this far as it relates to this committee. In every single hearing, y'all spin, spin, spin. I don't know how y'all are still standing right now, because you should be quite dizzy from all the spinning that you're constantly doing when it comes to spinning the truth.
So let's start with the easiest one here. Why shouldn't Hunter Biden simply trust Republicans to be good faith actors when they say that they want him to testify in a closed deposition?
I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have been laughing as you were asking that question.
No, that's the right response.
But as we're dealing with the clown show known as the House Republican majority, I don't think anybody should trust them. And that's not just Hunter Biden. But we know that this is all about politics. We know that everything that they're doing is basically some sort of marching order that comes straight from Donald Trump. And so anyone who would walk into the slaughter and say, hey, I'm here, and I had no idea that you were just coming to rip off my head. Well, that's somebody who's completely uninformed. And so I think what Hunter has done is he's made it clear that he knows the type of games that these people will play, and he is not one to be played with.
Now, Hunter also walked out of the hearing room when it was Marjorie Taylor Greene's turn to talk, obviously not looking to give her an ounce of respect after she showed printouts of his dick pics. And she did it again during this latest hearing after he had left. The question, well, I guess this question is a first one for me with a member of Congress, but what's with the dick pic obsession?
I'm guessing she's not getting none at home. Honey, I don't know. I don't know why she is so curious about his and seemingly obsessed with his. I've not had these conversations with her, but I don't think that she was sent to Congress, nor were any of the rest of us sent to Congress so that we could play with nude photos of political adversaries. As far as I'm concerned, the conversations that I have, not only with those that live in my district, but even some people that unfortunately live in her district, they want real solutions out of our federal government. And there are those of us that show up every single day looking to do the serious work. And then you have those who claim that, they don't want porn in our schools and our books. And so that's why they're taking books down. But, of course, in a committee room, absolutely all the porn you can stand.
Right, right. And the irony, too, about that is these people, when they were in the minority, they had campaigned so thoroughly on delivering solutions to the American people. I mean, they went on and on about gas prices and inflation, about how that was the only thing that they would focus on if they were able to retake the majority. Now that they have the majority, the only thing they've been able to accomplish is ousting speakers, ousting members, and showing revenge porn during committee.
Absolutely. I mean, right now, it's funny when they say the quiet part out loud. When you have a Chip Roy out of the state of Texas who's going on and on and on the House floor about what it is that they will or won't campaign on. And the fact is that they don't have anything to campaign on. This has been the most unproductive Congress that we've ever had in modern day history. And the idea that these people are going to be able to solve problems is just a joke.
Nancy Mace yelled that Hunter Biden showing up for a public testimony despite refusing to be railroaded into a private one was an example of his white privilege. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what white privilege is, but could I have your reaction to that claim by Nancy Mace?
Yeah, Nancy doesn't know what white privilege is either. I'm sure that she wills it around on most days, but clearly she doesn't have a full understanding. And for her to feel as if she was the one that should impugn someone else for white privilege was really one of those dumbfounding moments for me.
Yeah.
I can't say, I won't sit here and say that because Hunter is a white man that he hasn't enjoyed white privilege. I'm sure that he has. But saying that that's the reason that he's ignoring their subpoena is absolutely not. And it's watering down what white privilege has done in this country, especially to people that look like me. And it's completely ignoring the fact that every single day we're dealing with questions, for instance, that I had to deal with from an elementary kid who was only in the second grade when I went home over this break, who came up to me, this little precious Black boy, that said, "Do you believe that Black and white people will ever be treated the same?"
Yeah.
I about broke down in tears. And so, I think that even that baby has a better understanding of what white privilege looks like than Nancy Mace.
Yeah. It's ironic, too, how the Republicans love to grandstand against anything involving race or sex until the moment they believe it benefits them, even if it's completely misguided, as was the case with Nancy Mace.
Yeah.
Is there no acknowledgement from the Jim Jordans, for example, of the Oversight Committee, that while he castigates Hunter Biden for not complying with a subpoena, that he's like 600 days out of compliance with his own subpoena? Does that not register among any of the Republican members of this committee?
It does not. They have come up with their own excuse. They said because of the speech and debate clause, they don't have to answer to subpoenas. It is always their random excuse. And it is clear that they don't understand the Constitution, even though they tout it as if it is their very own Bible that they're toting around all the time. And, the courts have made it clear that that was not a valid excuse for evading their subpoenas. They have no real answers about it, except for the fact that they were wielding their privilege when they decided that they weren't going to show up. And for someone to have the audacity to do the exact same thing that they did, well, now they want retribution against those that have no respect for the rule of law.
Do you think that they're eventually going to vote on whether to impeach Joe Biden, or do you think that the plan here is just to drag this out for the next 11 months as we head into November so that Fox News has fodder leading up to the election?
Yeah, I think if they do the vote and it kind of all ends, because we know that the president would not be convicted in the Senate. If the Senate wouldn't convict Trump, I can tell you that the Senate is not convicting the president of the United States, especially with the Democratic majority, especially since there has been a failure by this party to come up with any evidence of any wrongdoing and do nothing more than insinuate and show revenge porn in committee. It's a complete joke. So, but if they take the vote, then what do you talk about? They need something to talk about. Again, they're still searching for what it is that they're going to campaign on. And it really is sad because we're living in a time when the American people really do want real answers and solutions. And we have a lot of people that are hurting, and we're just not spending that time that our American citizens are deserving of to focus on them. Instead, they're focused on playing petty little games.
Yeah, I think like what they don't recognize is that all of the time spent on this is to the detriment of something else, of anything else more important than focusing on Hunter Biden and revenge porn and imaginary corruption claims for which they've had more than a year now to conjure up even a modicum of evidence, and yet haven't been able to do that.
Yeah.
Republicans are obviously trying to draw an equivalency between Donald Trump's prosecutions, his corruption that he's being prosecuted for right now, and this notion of Biden's corruption, which, again, they don't have any evidence to prove. Do you think that strategy will actually work? And there's a difference here between whether it should, because obviously we understand that there's no there. But do you think that the strategy that they're trying to put forward, where they draw this equivalency between Trump and Biden, can actually work?
I don't think so. They've got everything that they need as it relates to their base and giving them the red meat that they need. These people have dug in and have decided no matter what, they are going to support Trump. It doesn't matter how many indictments he gets. It doesn't matter how many courts determine that he's a fraud or he's liable for sexual abuse. It doesn't matter. They just dig in deeper. So they have what they need to get his support. They're not winning any supporters. Right now, the question is, who is going to win the independents? You have a set number of Democrats. You have a set number of Republicans, and the difference is always going to be made in the middle. And this is not helping their cause. And listen, I am here for them continuing to do whatever is going to take for them to take themselves down. I'm not here to give them political advice, but I honestly don't think that this is turning out the way that they wanted to. I think that they have found a lane as it relates to the border. And I think that that's why we're going to continue to see an exploitation of the vulnerability of the people that are attempting to seek asylum that are trying to enter our country.
Is there any acknowledgement from your Republican colleagues, maybe behind the scenes, about what a clown show this is and how ridiculous it makes them look? Even Fox And conservative commentators were kind of cringing at Nancy Mace and these other Republican members after this latest hearing.
I don't know why they keep trying it. I mean, it's so ridiculous. You know, we had the last impeachment inquiry hearing that went terribly, terribly wrong for them. And we've made it clear that as so long as they want to continue to play these games, we will bring it, and we will bring it hard, and we will bring it even harder. You have to realize that a good portion of the Oversight Committee is actually comprised of freshman lawmakers. We're only getting better at this. So the more that they decide to do it, the worse it is for them. I will say that behind closed doors, there are some admissions. Every once in a while, I'll get a random text from a Republican, and they'll say, we don't agree on much, but you definitely made very good arguments. Yeah. You know, that's probably as far as they'll usually go.
What was the reaction to, I mean, you had a really great moment that I covered on my YouTube channel where you basically just called him out for lying, like of course Hunter Biden isn't going to be willing to testify in private because you said y'all lie, and like this, it doesn't get much clearer than that. Like why would he go in there if it's just going to be, if everything he says is just going to be distorted by people who have broadcast time and time again that they're not looking to traffic in reality, that they're not looking to tell the truth. What was the reaction to that moment that you had in this latest Oversight Committee hearing?
So what people don't know is that they were, I sit really close to the Republicans because I sit on the end, and then it picks up on the other side with them. And they started laughing uncontrollably when I said that they're liars, but then they just started speaking really loudly. And so the point was to try to distract me, kind of like in the basketball games, or you've got the people so they were trying to distract me because they knew that I was about to get on a roll and go off on them. So I guess this is going to be the new tactic, is to just try to distract me. Every once in a while, you'll see Marjorie Taylor Greene, who tries to jump in if I'm like going, because she wants to break up what I'm saying. So this time, and I guess maybe going forward, their goal is going to be really loud. It's loud enough where I can hear it, but because their mics aren't on, the average person that's listening in can't necessarily hear it.
Well, we'll continue to showcase when you do have those moments, and grateful for having your voice on that committee and in Congress right now. So with that said, Congresswoman, thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.